there's like Marriage Story. It's my experiences with relationships, my experiences with being a child of divorce. They're gonna make me not like the movie.
Why? What if you get some insight into that experience, or what if you see some familiarity that you can relate to in your life?
It's
like I like movies that sort of approach.
There are things that
I'm always looking for that empathetic
there are things where,
inroad
like,
for me.
Even if I connect with it, it's like this isn't good enough. You don't understand. Like it's not like there are levels to like the subjectivity of my own experiences where it's like you can penetrate into that, but there's a level where like even the best movie ever is just not gonna do it. You know what I mean? Like you just can't compare my experiences to this.
It's not comparing your experience.
Play.
It's finding a commonality with somebody else's experience.
I know, but to see.
It sounds like you don't believe in artistic representation of emotion, which is weird for somebody. Which is weird for somebody who wants to be a filmmaker.
Like I know it sounds like that, but there are things
like if you don't think that's possible to convey an emotion to somebody else through this art form, why would you ever want to make a movie?
I think there are things where my own experiences taint the whole subject matter so much that it won't work.
I'll say this, that as a child of divorce myself,
yeah,
Noah Baumbach's one of his first movies was Squid and the Whale, which I thought was the closest thing to the divorce experience that I went through.
Because that's from the kid's perspective.
Yes.
And I think it's interesting that now as a divorced adult, he has made the adult version of the Squid and the Whale.
Yes, yeah.
And honestly, it's funny because as a child of not divorce, whose parents are still happily married, I didn't get the Squid and the Whale at all, but I get Marriage Story as somebody who's been in relationships. I can relate to a relationship ending even though you don't want it to, or like all the things that happen in that, because that's what this is not. I don't know if it would be as triggering to a child of divorce as it would be to an adult who just has relationships.
Me and Colleen went into it as a couple, like a married couple, like all we heard from people was that if you're married, don't watch this movie because it just like it's gonna
start a fight.
It's gonna start a fight. Yeah. And we both went in like, here we go, and we pushed play, and like honestly, we both loved the movie. It was funnier than we thought. It's like almost like a dark comedy. Yeah.
Yeah, at times. Yeah.
And it's there are emotional parts, but like we didn't cry or anything like that. It's not that kind of emotional movie.
And I did think those central performances, especially Adam Driver, were really, really just powerful and
that one scene.
Yeah, totally. But I thought he was great. But I thought it was spot on.
I've seen the scene where he says that he wishes she was dead like 10 times.
You've seen
now.
that scene out of but this is like this is exactly why you like. This is what I think is weird is that you don't even want to see it to see if how it would affect you. Like you don't have to watch any movie you don't want to watch, but also when you just see that stuff out of context, I think it's funny when they do the Oscar montages of like, oh, here's the best performances of the year, and all they show is like the most melodramatic scenes because they're the ones that look best on camera because that's the one where they're doing the most acting. But if you see them out of context, they all look fucking ridiculous. Like every single scene they showed in the Oscar telecast of somebody acting looked absurd, but if you watch it in the course of the movie, that's just one element that actually like crescendoed there.
No, I believe that they're like those are the crescendos. I just don't think it will work with me.
I'm just saying it's almost impossible to look at those things on their own and just be like, oh yeah, that's great acting, because it's like no, that's totally over the top until you see all the shit around it. You can't appreciate.
If you're into movies that like don't have any emotion in them, you should check out Six Underground. I couldn't get through the first 5 minutes of that movie.
That's not really.
Is that one's just like it's you know what it is? It's the perfect Michael Bay movie. It's like he figured out like all the stuff and just cut out all the bullshit of trying to tell a story or care about characters or anything like that, and just is like explosions, car chases, cameras that swirl around at a low angle shot around a main character. It's like he was in his wheelhouse and he just went for it. And you know what? I feel like there's an audience for that, and I feel like a tiny part of the audience is a tiny part of me.
Yeah, it was about 5 minutes worth for me. And just Ryan Reynolds, man. Like I feel like Ryan Reynolds sucks, and he is only good sometimes. Like it's hard to get.
Name the times.
like he works as Deadpool. I'll give him that. Like I enjoy. I don't think the Deadpool movies are
Deadpool is great.
great.
He's
or
a little
anything.
too self-aware. You know, like have you ever seen him in like a movie where he's trying to be serious?
Yeah, probably.
It just kind of
Yeah, and that's why Deadpool works because he is self-aware.
right. That's the whole point of the character. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just feel like he's doing a bad Jim Carrey impression all the time. He
It's that
like,
kind of
talks
over.
like this.
Yeah, it's that
and
kind of
stuff,
over.
yeah.
But that's exactly it. It's like he's doing a bit.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, but he's. I feel like Deadpool is his thing, and like that's where he's.
Yeah, I don't have the same.
I realize he does so much more other stuff, but
I'm not as antagonized by it as you are, but I get what you're saying, and I do agree, and that's why Deadpool is perfect for him because it is like a total self-awareness and commentary on what he like a meta commentary on him being an actor in a movie.
I agree with your impression, and you know what line of his from a movie that is stuck in my head forever. He's in Harold and Kumar go to White Castle, and they sneak into the hospital to try to get medical marijuana. And he tries to get Kumar to like operate on some guy because he's like, oh, you know about medicine or whatever, or you doctor this, because they're wearing fake name badges.
Right.
And then Kumar is like, we need to give the patient marijuana. And he pulls down the little mask and he's like, marijuana, but why? And he's doing that Jim Carrey
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah. Well, Jim Carrey became a good actor, kind of, after, so maybe Ryan Reynolds will too someday. When
he's Dr. Robotnik.
Where he reinvents him. Well, yeah. He made an effort to become a good actor, and now he's just giving up and going back to what he's good at.
I can't help but think, like, okay, so Sonic the Hedgehog is a movie, right? And
Right.
with Jim Carrey as Dr.
We
Robotnik.
all have to accept this
Why
as
is
a
he
reality.
not fat? Why didn't they put him in a fat suit?
Yeah.
Really weird.
If that movie
Or
had come
bald,
out,
you know, like, because he's not supposed to have, like, that little pompadour.
well, I think
he's
he
got.
eventually looks like that because I saw in one of the trailers
Oh.
he like changes.
Oh. Yeah, I guess that makes sense, too.
But anyway, if that
'Cause
movie
he's not
came out
normally
20
egg-shaped.
years ago, it would be a much bigger hit.
Yeah, why?
In the 90s, when both Sonic the
Why do
Hedgehog
it now?
and Jim Carrey were huge things, now they're both like. Does anyone know what Sonic the Hedgehog is now?
And poor James Marsden,
Yeah,
who,
I mean, I do,
who
but-
just, just make better choices, man.
Yeah.
I just feel like he's got some talent. He
James
doesn't have to
Marsden?
do this.
You
Yeah.
were Cyclops in the original X-Men
You were
movies.
just
like,
on
you
Westworld
had-
and sort
You
of
were
like
in
revamped
27
your career.
dresses.
Have a little self-respect. You're tarnishing Katherine Hagel's rom-com memory.
I'm so glad I got to do that.
Yeah,
like,
nicely done.
Because you guys are gonna name movies that you like with him in them,
but,
and that's the one movie that I always associated with him.
We're doing it again.
Welcome to Bondcast, James Bondcast.
We have to talk about From Russia with Love.
We're talking about 1963's From Russia with Love, a classic film.
You may remember that we've already done From Russia with Love.
That's right.
In the past. It was our second episode. It actually was one of our best early episodes. I just re-listened. I loved it.
Love that martini shaker in the background.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
That was a drinking episode. I can only imagine Goldfinger must have been worse because we were drinking throughout From Russia with Love and we taped them back to back.
Yeah.
Goldfinger must have been a disaster. Go back and check out the Goldfinger episode to see if we
should
actually
revisit
got
that.
hammered. Yeah.
Shout out to Chris, wherever you're at.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
We miss you.
He's
Right,
not.
he's not dead.
He's not dead.
He's not dead.
He's just dead to us.
I really thought Harris was going to be the one to claim he was dead.
That is my thing. Yeah, stop stealing my bit. Damn it. Come on, Matt. Yeah, so we are revisiting this one because we decided to fill the gap between when the new Bond was supposed to come out and when it actually is coming out. We have to do something, and so we're revisiting our most controversial and divisive episodes, and this was one of them. You guys both disliked this movie pretty immensely.
We rated it a 004. Me and Colin both gave it the same rating, and you gave it a 008.
Rebelliously gave it a 008, which even at the time I felt was a little high, but it was mostly in reaction to I thought you guys not giving it enough credit.
It was it's like one of our largest disparities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd take another look, having watched all the other James Bond movies, and see if our opinions on this one have changed at all.
Knowing now what we didn't know then.
And we've already done this from On Her Majesty's Secret Service, where our take was a little more favorable, but not that much. We still thought it kind of sucked.
Middle of the road.
Yeah, yeah. It was.
It went from sucking to middle of the road.
Yeah. But it didn't make that big of a leap.
This one goes way back, though. This was the original was
Right.
recorded in 2017.
Which is why I'm
We're
really
here in
curious.
2020.
At that point, I don't know. I hadn't watched a Bond movie in quite a while. At least not one of the older ones. So I don't know if when I was watching this back then, I didn't really have the frame of reference that I do now, having seen so many of the subsequent movies, and it definitely changed my opinion for better and for worse on this one.
I feel like back in 2017, a lot of people were saying, "Oh yeah, Colin, he be living in 2020."
I don't even know what to make of that. You're wearing that knit cap, and I feel like it's just like that.
Isn't the window open? It's like weirdly cold in here.
It feels so nice.
Is it cold on your side?
The window's open.
It'll be
This side
If
of
you
the table
close that
feels
window,
great.
it'll be very hot.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
I'm comfortable with my beanie on.
We're operating out of the Lunacy production offices
which
today.
is held together by these little like lanyard things.
Yeah.
That I noticed like.
Well, that's because the handle
hold
broke off that
many
window,
things together.
and I tried to close it the other day without the lanyard on it, and I had to like pinch the metal and pull it, and it was
Pinch my finger.
it was not fun. It was
Did
not a
you
fun
hurt your
experience.
fingies?
No, I didn't hurt my fingies, but it was frustrating and time consuming. For like closing a window should never be closing a window should
Alex
never be
is
that.
laughing at you saying fingies.
I imagine it like a Simpsons joke. Like we just zoom into Alex's mind, and in her mind is Harris going, "Ooh, my fingy."
Wait, do we even introduce ourselves?
I'm Harris McCabe.
I'm Matt McGregor.
I'm Colin Shaw. I thought I had to change it.
No, nobody wanted to take credit for you, Colin. And we're here with our engineer Alex.
That was less embarrassing than when I couldn't find the water cooler.
We're in a tiny room with a water cooler in one corner.
Okay, now I
And
found the water
Colin-
cooler, but where are the cups? God
Colin
damn it!
could not figure it out. The cups are on top of the water cooler.
It's shadowed. It's in the shadows.
It's
over
really, yeah, it was something. All right, so let's talk about this movie From Russia with Love. Your takeaways were a little harsh last time. We don't have to get into like the grand summation, but some initial reactions watching it again.
So the first time I thought it was slow and dated, and now watching it again, I feel like the thing that makes it obvious that it's slow is that it's dated, and the thing that makes it obvious that it's dated is
That it's slow.
well, no, the thing that makes it obvious that it's dated is that it's no. Fuck. The thing that makes it obvious that it's slow is that it is dated, but not the other way around.
Colin's mind is a snake eating its own ass.
That's how it's supposed to be, isn't it? That's what they call
normal.
genius.
This time, it didn't feel as slow to me this time, even though I did nod off a couple of times.
Well, that'll shorten the
not a
movie
good
for you. Yeah.
Guys, I'm a parent. I fall asleep to movies a lot more often now. It's really sad that I have to admit that, but
Yeah.
Anyway, I enjoyed it this time more because I think the thing that stood out to me this time is the reason why people like it is because the plot is actually good and it's easy to follow, but it's like twisty enough and it makes enough sense that it's like a good spy thriller movie. And like the train sequence is probably the best part. Like everything that takes place on the train, I think. The gypsy scene is still, I don't know. That's
Very dated and very
crazy.
yeah.
And then the ending, I remember feeling like last time that it goes on a little too long. It's like one scene after the other. But I don't know. This time it seemed to flow a little better.
I had
for
the
me.
same because we were all in agreement that it ended 8 times and took way too long at the end, and I had the same reaction of I expected that going into it. And so when it hit that high point, which is the fight on the train, I knew that there was way more, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to have to watch this for... And then I was like, oh, no. Helicopter chase, boat chase, little ending button, and then it's done. And it actually felt a little shorter to me. And there was like a lot of crazy shit happening. I don't know if it was as good as, it wasn't topping what had come before, but it was all exciting stuff, sort of.
And it sort of hits a lot of beats that the Bond movies like eventually
Right.
went on to do, like the coda ending of like the one surviving villain.
Yeah.
And like I don't know.
It
boat
establishes
chases.
all the tropes for sure.
Yeah,
and it
more
is
than
the
Dr.
second
No
one.
did, which,
yeah.
We get
It's
introduced.
still-
Goldfinger really nails it
Right.
trope wise, but yeah.
The ending still really bothered me just because this time I was thinking just super structurally, and structurally the third act it climaxes with the train fight, and there's almost 20 more minutes, and that's just kind of the facts,
Yeah.
and
But 20 more minutes isn't like they're
yeah.
really. I mean, that's
Yeah.
not bad. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what the real problem is, and this is I'm going to tip my hand a little about my biggest takeaway of this movie. But I mean, why not? That train fight is so fucking good. I watched it twice. I watched it and I watched it again, and I was like, this is the best action sequence of the entire Connery Bond. Like, I don't know if there's a better. It's like the best fight. Like the best choreographed fight, the best shot and edited. They didn't use any speed ramps that I could see, no obvious ones anyways. They didn't do any of that thing where they recut the same actions
Shot
multiple
over, yeah.
times. It was all new, and it looked like these guys were really just beating the hell out of each other and throwing each other through walls and stuff. And they even had some interesting stuff, like one shot is through the reflection of the glass of them fighting, and then the gun goes out the window and breaks the glass. And there was just they immediately shoot the lights out, so they're fighting in a blue room with like this yellow light coming in on them. It just was like artistically, and in terms of the choreography, and in terms of just the like editing an exciting fight scene in an era where there were no fights this exciting in any of the other Connery movies, and it was just so good. And it was also paying off a villain that you had built up.
But I think that's part of the problem. Is it is the main conflict of the story of the film,
Yes.
and it ends,
And it happens too early.
yeah.
No, so that's what, like, there's nothing wrong with having 20 minutes after the train fight and having that be the end of the movie, except that the train fight is such a high point for this film and for, in fact, Connery's whole run in some ways, that it feels weird that we have to watch more movie after he killed the baddest villain in this most awesomest of fights.
And the bulk of the story is really kind of him, Bond versus Grant.
they're on a collision course, right?
Yeah.
What they could have done is had all those action set pieces, and then they finally escape. They finally get out, and they're on the train, and they think they're safe. But there's this one guy who's been training since the beginning. We've seen him in the cold open and whatever, and like that is the final culmination.
Yeah, if you could somehow
I think they could have
re-edit
just dropped the helicopter part. Keep the boat.
Yeah, sure.
Definitely keep the Blofeld thing with Rosa Klebb and the foot knife,
Yeah,
and
that's
then
a good
Rosa
scene.
Klebb coming back. But just drop the helicopter thing.
Now you are just talking about cutting time, and that's getting back to the point of the time really isn't the issue. It's just the placement of that. Like, you could definitely get to the credits
you could
faster.
put the helicopter thing earlier.
Earlier,
Yeah, you'd have to rewrite the script a little because the helicopter thing is all inspired by Rosa Klebb, the guy failing, and them deciding they got to do something else to get this thing. But yeah, that is really the big miscalculation here, is that they build up this character. He's literally in the first scene of the movie. He's in the cold open, that wonderfully brilliant but totally nonsensical cold open where he kills the fake James Bond. So we can talk about it a little bit.
I think he's in at least twice as many scenes as Rosa Klebb actually is.
He's all over the place. He is the main antagonist.
Yeah.
And always shadowing Bond. They've got that great shot that I pointed out the last episode where he's stalking Bond and Bond's moving across the train platform to meet a contact, and then Robert Shaw is in the window moving
that's a great
just
shot.
behind him. It's such a great moment.
One thing they could have done is, I felt at this time is like, he pretends to be the spy, the on the same team as Bond, right? And like they go to dinner together. They have this whole like thing.
And he's got his kind of nasal, proper British accent.
Oh, man, that accent.
Yeah, which he does. We talked about it last episode, but he does drop it once the jig is up. He's got like a normal accent, but he is trying to sound like a nerd in that scene.
But they could have got rid of all that stuff and just had him like show up and just like
when they're drinking at dinner, he says "Cheero."
Cheero. Yeah, that's supposed to be a giveaway, right? That's how I read it.
My friend looked it up. He's like, "Do people really say Cheero?" I have to look this. I'm googling it.
It's
And
Cheerio.
what was the conclusion?
Cheero is a thing.
Oh, really?
Well, there
It's
you go.
just his style of talking is. I think it would be like a much older man would talk like that. Not a man of that age.
No, I think it was more like he's like a nerd. He's not because he's meeting. You just saw the guy that he kills.
Someone
It's a
who
guy in
wouldn't
glasses.
leave. Someone who wouldn't leave the UK.
Right,
Kind of wouldn't be there.
Yeah. No. He's supposed to be. He's trying to play a guy who's like the helper to James Bond. He's not his own secret. He's not a super tough. Because here's a guy who's like got.
But it's confusing. Why does that guy get assigned to Zagreb? I think is part of
because he's like a station agent. He's at a desk most days, and then he goes out and helps the field agent. He's not a guy who's in the field all the time. So for this huge dude, this huge blonde dude who's got like
and he
muscles,
even says it. He's like, "You look pretty fit."
Yeah,
exactly. And he's not supposed to be a field agent, so he's got to act like he's got to be like, well, actually, like being like a nerd. And so that's the accent as part of his act to lull Bond into a false sense of security.
There's a weird juxtaposition there too with Karim Bey, who is the field agent for Turkey, who has tons of connects with the gypsies and used to be a circus performer,
Right.
and has 100 sons.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, okay, like, yeah, the field agent stays at a desk, but we've just seen one that has he even says it himself, I have a very interesting backstory.
Right. Well, yeah. No, but this is just all part of Grant trying to have this cover when he's trying to fool James Bond, which is, I actually thought was kind of a nice build-up, because the first time we ever hear him talk, he's not talking as himself. He's talking as another character. He literally is the big silent blonde guy that becomes a trope of James Bond movies for the whole first half of his appearances, and then all of a sudden because we realize that he's strong. We realize that he's like a physical match to James Bond, and we also realize that he's being set up as a mirror image. But then when I think I like that he does the goofy accent, because it's showing that he's not just a big strong oaf.
Yeah.
He is actually smart, and he can play this role. And he fools Bond.
I don't think we're supposed to believe Bond is buying it at all. Though.
But he is, because he.
I took the Chiro thing as like, did you ever see Die Hard with a Vengeance when the German says it's raining dogs and cats outside or something, and that tips off Bruce Willis?
Yeah,
that's what I thought the Chiro thing was.
No, because since we've looked it up and found out that it is something that people say.
Yeah.
But and the other thing was, he says in retrospect, when he realizes that Grant's not on his side, he says, "Oh, I should have known anybody who would order red wine with fish."
Right.
You know,
I think Bond appreciates that the character that this bad guy is building is a possible desk operative from Zagreb, but it's too fishy the whole time.
Well,
and I think Connery's playing it.
No, if that were true, James Bond wouldn't have put his gun away and turned his back on the guy right after he pulled the gun on him and said, "Why did you drug this girl?" If there's nothing like that's super suspicious.
Well, that's
and Grant does a good job of covering, and then Bond puts his gun away and immediately trusts him again, because he was suspicious, but not suspicious enough, because the guy, he was buying a lot of the act. Like he had questions, but I don't think there's anything on the screen to indicate that he.
I don't think he trusts the girl the whole time though either. So
that's why the girl's so quiet at dinner, because he just told her that he doesn't trust her, and he just found out that she's been lying.
But
to him.
Also, Grant should have killed him. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
oh, absolutely. Yeah,
and he
revealing
gave
the whole damn
plot.
plan.
Yeah. But at the same time, he does the talking villain thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Bond also does know what's going to get as a Spectre agent. He knows how to appeal to him. Oh, I got money though. Like, you are just in this for the money. You are a gun for hire. So I've got money, and it's his greed.
But he doesn't fall for it until it's the like gold doubloons. He doesn't want paper money.
Well, he doesn't offer him paper money. He says, "I've got." That's what
no,
he's
he
got.
does. He gives them an offer. He's like, "Oh, what are they paying you? British intelligence will pay you twice."
Well,
and then he doesn't go for it, and he's like, "Oh, well, I do have a bunch of gold on me right now," and he's like, "Oh, I'm interested."
Well,
in
he's just
that.
buying a cigarette with the gold.
Yeah.
But that's yeah, and it's an interesting.
I feel like the promise of money from the British government is, it's seen as like not as good as the hard currency.
Yes, I think that's pretty clear. The other thing that I like about that fight scene, though, is that it pays off not one, not two, but like every setup of the gadgets, like the garrote watch, all the briefcase stuff, the like everything in that briefcase, the knife, the
money,
the tear gas, the money. Everything but the bullets,
not
really.
The bullets.
But that already is part of the different thing with the rifle. But like every gag about the brief. Then how many Bond movies have we seen where they set up some gadget
that's
and
never used,
and it's either never used or it's used in a lame way? This is like the most important scene in the movie. Everything that they've set up in the past gets trotted out really effectively.
Yeah, the plant and payoff feels like believable here.
Right.
There enough time had passed that it was good. Where in some other movies, it feels like they went back and wrote that in because they needed
have
to
something.
put a gadget.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so great fight sequence. I think Grant is actually a really good villain in my mind. He's one, and Robert Shaw does, I think, a really nice job with it.
Yeah, he's an imposing presence.
I think so. I don't think you're giving enough credit to how close to absurd it is, though. Especially starting on Spectre Island, where he's training against a guy in a mask.
And a guy in a mask. Yes, we covered this extensively in our other thing on From Russia with Love. I encourage you all to listen
You're
to
just
it.
giving him a ton of serious cred right now, and it is a little bit ridiculous, everything that's going on.
Everything in this, but everything in all of these movies is a little bit ridiculous. But the Spectre Island, the killing the guy.
As it should be.
Welcome to Spectre Island. Don't worry, it's only a name. It's actually a peninsula.
Yeah. And I mean the the cold open, which is actually like there's still a part of me that really likes the idea of it, and I just imagine like being in the theaters, because I think I actually saw this as a kid and remember thinking like, oh my God, he just killed James Bond, because it's this guy, this Sean Connery gets strangled to death by this guy, and then they rip off the mask, and it's like, no, we're just training him to kill people who have
Look
Sean
like
Connery's
him.
face. They don't have his competence. We're not going to risk any good agents of this. This is actually one of the guys in the kitchen that usually cleans up the dishes, and we just trot him out here to be
in
a
the dark.
victim. Yeah,
Where he couldn't
and we have
see
to,
him
and we have to
anyways.
actually kill him.
And they were all watching like from a distance, like behind.
Yeah,
the
Yeah,
not
they
even
turn
that
the lights
far
on.
away.
Yeah. Oh, it's so stupid. And still so wonderful. Oh, the other thing that I really liked about this, one of the other things that I really liked about this movie
the
that held up.
flamethrower training scene.
No,
The training
no.
scene.
But
The judo,
I-
it covers everything: judo, flamethrowers,
Yeah.
bullets, all different kinds of guns.
what I did like was the
there's a sword fight going on.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
I liked the titles. I liked the opening titles.
Yeah,
and I
they're
forgot
great.
how influential these are on
the rest
ones
of-
that
yeah.
that come later.
It's just disappointing that there's no song for the movie that.
Yeah, but
goes
it's got a
with it.
good, it's got a catchy. It would be nice if they had a real, like, the From Russia with Love song's terrible as we've
The
established.
theme that they have is great because it's the Bond theme.
Yeah,
but
the From Russia with Love song actually works as a closing theme, because the closing themes are never that good, and they're kind of slower and happy endinger.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work as an opening theme, so they didn't use it, and it really wouldn't have worked, especially with there's some serious boob shaking right at the beginning of this
Yeah.
thing. There's and it's doing the whole projecting stuff onto the women's bodies, which becomes the whole, the whole gimmick. And it's just a really good version of this for the first one that really did it this way, because Dr. No doesn't.
Yeah.
It kind of nails it, and I don't Goldfinger isn't better. The next several movies almost directly imitate this and don't improve
I think
on
the next good one is You Only Live Twice.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
that song is so good, though.
Yeah, that's one of the better ones.
Oh yeah, that's
best-
part of why that opening theme is so good.
Yeah.
Here's something.
and,
This is a
Spy Who
little.
Loved Me is another great one that sort of takes this element and really.
This
runs
is
with
off
it.
the subject of the titles, but did anyone else, when M hands Bond the picture that Karimbe managed to snap of her, did anyone else pause and take a look at what that picture looks like?
It's like she's posing.
So
Right?
it's-
She's
oh, it's
posing.
definitely from
She's
her-
looking directly into the camera, tossing her hair.
It's either from a JCPenney catalog or from her headshot collection or something.
I just kept trying to imagine this scenario where Karimbe is stalking her, following her around, spying on her
Now-
on a ferry, and then stops. And, can I just get your picture? And she's like, "Oh yes, I used to model. I'll do it this way."
knowing Karimbe.
Go ahead and keep that picture, strange man who probably works for another government.
Knowing Karimbe, I think it's entirely plausible
Yeah.
that he approached her and was like, "I'm a photographer and this is what I do for a living and I just want to capture you. Throw your hair back a little bit. Yes, you're perfect."
Yeah.
He probably tried to get
But-
in her pants before.
Yeah.
He was like, "Okay."
Honestly, I see it all, but it's still a little silly. I mean,
Oh yeah, it's very very silly. Hey, we were talking about a lot of plot elements. Do you want to try a?
sure.
Do we want to try a little? Get a clock going on
Let's
you?
get the clock up and running.
Yeah, Colin will do his summary so you guys will know who Karimbe is and what the hell we're talking about.
I hope I can do it. I'm scared.
It's like both straightforward, more straightforward than a lot of them, but also it's got a lot going on.
Every time I do it, I get anxiety. I get the butterflies in my stomach. You know.
All right, ready?
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right, so the first thing we see is Robert Shaw, and he murders a guy, and it's you think it's James Bond, but it's really a guy in a mask because it's not James Bond, but he's being trained to kill James Bond, and so they put guys in a James Bond mask, and he murders them. Then we see Bond, and then we see Spectre and Blofeld's like, here's the plan. We're going to do, the West versus the East, and we're going to have the West seal the Lecter decoder. It's like a thing that they use for codes for Russia. So they're going to get this woman, this Russian agent, to seduce Bond by saying she saw his picture and she loves him, and she'll give him the Lecter just to fuck. And so Bond goes in, and Karimbe's there, and Karimbe's the head of the office there in Turkey. And he's like, you should fuck this girl, but you're going to die or something. And then, a bunch of stuff happens. There's a bunch of fights between the Russians, and then they eventually do steal the thing. Turns out the whole time, Robert Shaw is following them, murdering people, setting it up so that Bond steals the Lecter, so then he can kill Bond, so then they can sell the Lecter back to Russia and start a war between Russia and the West so that Spectre can pick up all the pieces. but Bond catches Robert Shaw on the train trying to kill him, and he kills him back, and he kills him better. And he wins, and then Bond gets away from other Spectre guys who try to kill him. And then this woman that was, high up in Spectre trying to make the whole thing happen, she tries to get Bond with a shoe knife in Venice, and he gets away with it because the girl has fallen in love with him by this time, and she helps him.
Wow.
And then they have sex in Venice.
With 25 seconds to spare, and he did it all by only leaving out
What, the gypsy thing?
Several things. Well,
a bunch of bombings.
in order, we have the chess scene and the introduction of number 5, who is...
I sort of talked about that.
Well, you didn't mention the chess scene or number 5, who is... The whole plot starts off with number 5 is a Spectre guy who is in charge of coming up with this brilliant plan
he's the one who made
to
the
pit
plan.
the East and the West against each other, and he later is killed because of his failure, but he's a chess genius. What's his name?
Kronstein.
Kronstein.
I thought it was Kronberg.
No, it's Kronstein.
No, Stromberg is the fish fucker from the other one.
Stromboli is a delicious dish and also a character in Pinocchio.
Oh, fuck. I'm hungry.
Yeah, that would be nice Stromboli right now.
Oh, my God.
But
what are you doing? You're totally derailing the podcast.
Kronstein...
I can't be expected to finish thinking about Stromboli this
Kronstein has a great hilarious line when they say at the end, like, oh, your plan was brilliant except that James Bond foiled it, and he's like, yes, but who is Bond compared to Kronstein?
Right.
And then like 5 seconds later he's dying. Yeah. You also left out obviously the gypsy camp, which is where where Karen Bay hides them. I feel like you didn't give Karen Bay enough shine in your in your
probably
thing
didn't.
for like a
I'm
great
sorry.
character and one of the great quarrels of the entire series. He didn't get enough love.
When I watched when I listened to our old episode, I was like, whatever I said to you was something like, you're just upset. You're just still upset because Quarrel died.
I will forever mourn.
Harris has clung to that death throughout the whole
So
series.
if any other character gets close to being like Quarrel and they die, then like
I get a little PTSD from it. Yeah. And then once they get off the train, you can't even give a shout out to like helicopter, boat, Rosa Club. Like, don't even mention those 2 extended sequences that you claim are too long, but not worth mentioning in your summation, even though you had 25 seconds left. I don't know.
I was summarizing.
Well, yeah, it was not one of your best. I'm going to give this D plus,
002?
C minus, yeah, 003. I'll give it a generous 003.
We don't rate my summaries. That's not what we do.
Well, maybe we should start. I'm just trying to see if there's anything that we didn't talk about the first time. Oh, I thought this was funny, and I was trying to picture. So, do you guys remember the scene where Robert Shaw is on Spectre Island and Rosa Club comes to meet him? And he's having the picnic with the girl. Yeah. And the girl is apparently like, she seems like an employee of Spectre Island who's maybe a masseuse of some kind.
Yeah.
Who has to take her clothes off to give him a massage.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, like, what other context? Because it seems like it's not like a sexual massage. It seems like it's a sports massage for all the training he's doing. If you went to a massage parlor and the masseuse just took his or her clothes off before giving you a massage, like what is how off-putting is that? I'm assuming they're not like going to be this hot blonde of the thing. Just picturing in your head, you just want a massage, and all of a sudden the person starts stripping down. What is the appropriate like response to that? Like, oh no, wait, I need to clarify something before we get started.
Isn't this what massages are like?
Have you ever been to like a
Matt's been to the Orchids of Asia massage. That's the only one he knows.
Well, have you been to like a Korean spa where they'll do other stuff where they'll wash you, like they'll have someone wash you? Have you ever seen that?
No, I've heard of this, but I don't even like being massaged by a regular person like outside my clothes. I'm not big on people touching me.
So I went to this place called King Spa back in Dallas, and it's like the biggest spa there, and it's 24 hours. It
I
has a
can't
movie
wait till
theater.
the end of the story. We all realize that he was in a brothel, and he realizes it too. Go ahead. I've heard of this
It's
place.
not. It's a real place. It's legitimate.
In Texas, yes,
it's legitimate.
So after my 4th hand job of the day,
It's legit.
I was raw, and I was like, "There's not enough oil in the world." To
I realized.
make this worth it again.
I realized they weren't accidentally touching my penis. They said it was an accident.
they kept calling me sire.
You know, I just figured when they were trying to pull their hand away, they somehow grabbed.
Hey, I appreciate your enthusiasm and thoroughness, but I think that area has been washed sufficiently. My back could use some work.
My feet are kind of hurting.
Yeah. Anyways, go ahead. Tell your story.
No, but it's like a really big spa, so they have everything. They have like 5 different saunas. They have a UV light sauna. You know, different temperatures, different levels of steam. They got a hot pool. They got a hot tub. They got a cold pool. They got it all. And they also have in the like the naked area, like the part where, you know, like the women and men are separated because like people's dicks are out.
Yeah.
They have like little
Women,
stalls.
stay away. There are dicks around the corner.
Well, they're in there.
Gentlemen, cover your dicks. The women are here.
Well, they're in their part with their jives out.
Yeah. I can picture it.
You know.
I've seen a movie like this once.
But anyways, they have little stalls, and it's like if you pay, you know, a bunch, they'll have somebody like hit you with a hose and scrub you down, and it looks like kind of violent. Like they're like really trying to. They're going above and beyond for exfoliation.
Uh-huh.
And like I feel like in a scenario like that,
It's really hard to finish.
you can't. You can't be like wearing a suit while you're like washing someone, you know?
I guess that's true. So let me tell a story about my journey through Texas. So I was driving through West Texas with a friend of mine, and as Colin probably knows, there are highways.
Wait. Did you try to search for the best little whorehouse in Texas?
Sometimes, Colin, you don't have to search. So we're driving through West Texas, and we got to, and it's like, sort of like there's like a lot of highway there, and there's not a lot of exits. There's just like road, and then you'll see every once in a while you'll see an exit, but it's just a road that leads off to the horizon, just as far as the eye can see, and it looks very foreboding. And
It's like it reminds me of like, you ever watch The Critic? There was an episode where he becomes a trucker and he's driving and he's like falling asleep at the wheel, and all of a sudden, you know, he sees a sign coming down the road, and he's like, oh, and as the sign gets closer, it says, next sign, 50 miles.
So this is exactly what I'm talking about. We're driving a school bus across Texas, and it's like empty. It's just me and a friend of mine. And
Picking up kids, you know.
we're just picking up kids. We're freelance school bus drivers across the country, just picking up kids as we found them.
Hey, you kids go to school or something?
So we had no kids in the bus at this time, and we realized that we were running low on gas just after we passed a sign that basically said like no gas anywhere in either direction.
Does this turn into a Mad Max scenario?
You guys are boned. Yeah, no, that's what we were thinking. We were like, oh my God, we're in the middle of nowhere, and there's no anything. And so then and this is before the internet, before you could look stuff up.
You got to keep the wheels on the bus going round.
And round.
And round.
Yeah. And so, no, you really didn't.
I don't know why I had to do that.
So we see an exit coming up, and we're like, okay, we're going to run out of gas before, even if we turn around, we won't make it back to the last place we saw a gas station. So we're screwed. So we're taking this exit, and we're just hoping we hit a gas station. So we take the exit. And we drive. And I think there was even like some sign for like some decaying sign for an ancient truck stop that probably didn't exist anymore. And we just take this road.
This is now the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Exactly. No, it totally is. We're taking this road out to middle of nowhere, and it drives and it drives and it drives, and finally we hit this truck stop that I think was alluded to by a decrepit sign. And it's so old that it doesn't have like it's like one of those things where you have to like hit a bunch of mechanisms to make the gas pump. The gas is like one of those old things where the numbers spin and goes ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of ancient gas station. There's no other vehicles there gassing up. There's nothing anywhere near it within miles. And I'm filling up the tank, and my buddy goes in to go to the bathroom, and he comes back out, and he's like, and he comes back out with some snacks. He's like, oh, you should get in there. There's some really cute chicks in there. And so I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, there's like some younger girls in there, and like they're working, like there's one behind the counter and whatever. So
maybe we could pick them up in our school bus.
Yeah. It was mostly just like, yeah, just go in and take a look. This is weird. So I go in, and the first thing I notice is that all the stuff in like the convenience store section of the place is like very ancient. It's clearly like not restocked regularly. But sure enough, there's like a young college age girl working the counter. And then I see another girl coming out of the bathroom who's like fairly young. And I go to the bathroom, and I go past the trucker's lounge where there's like a little TV. And then when I'm on my way back, there is a guy getting a blowjob in that trucker's lounge.
What the fuck?
And I walked back out to the bus, and I think my buddy might have seen it too. And I feel like it was like one of those things that we were like, so that's like a trucker brothel, right? Yes. Okay. Good to know that these actually exist and are things, and couldn't even tell you where it is. I have, like, this is 20 years ago now, but a vague memory of this thing, but it was definitely real.
I have a similar story.
Is this
Except
about
it was a van instead of a school bus.
Is this about the trucker brothel that you were born in?
No.
It's like, oh my God, did you see my mom there?
Dad?
No, it was in Arizona actually. I drove from here to Dallas with Tim, and we started running out of gas, and I'm like, oh, we'll just stop wherever, and he's like we're running out of gas, we gotta stop now, and we're just like, oh fuck, like the next place, okay. So it's like a similar kind of like a truck stop that's not really around anything, and it's I can still tell you where it is because this is more recent. But we go in and we get some gas, and like there's a a convenience store, and then there's like the bathroom and there's a hallway, but there's a guy in there who looked remarkably like Joe Rogan, and there's another guy in there who they weren't actually Joe Rogan and Drew Carey, but the guy who was talking looked like Joe Rogan. The other guy in the store looked like Drew Carey, and there was a guy in the bathroom with a bunch of tattoos on his face, and the guy is like just kind of barking at him like the Joe Rogan guy. He's like, all right, Drew Carey, tattoo face, let's go, let's do this thing. And we look at some of the stuff, and like, you know how they sometimes have, the little items like Route 66 or whatever, they've got hats, and we're at Crazy Fred's Truck Stop and Whorehouse, and the hat says Crazy Fred's Truck Stop and Whorehouse on it. And yeah, Drew Carey and Tattoo Face, they went in.
That is fascinating and totally plausible in my experience.
I have a story. When I was a little kid, my first ever, I think, first like big celebrity sighting that I can remember, I was on the same flight as Gallagher. Remember him?
What does this have to do with
nothing? I just thought of it.
He wanted to share.
But do you remember Gallagher?
Yeah, with the watermelons and the big plastic tarps that.
Yeah, okay. I thought you were gonna explain like your first celebrity sighting was like Heidi Fleiss, and then try to explain why you knew Heidi Fleiss was a celebrity.
No, I didn't have a whorehouse or Texas. I've never been to Texas.
But you really wanted to share.
I just needed to tell a story.
Random observation.
That's pretty awesome, though. Gallagher?
Yeah.
Random observation. Rosa Klebb with glasses looks kind of like Woody Allen.
Yeah.
A lot like Woody Allen.
Isn't that kind of weird? Yeah, she does.
What's her name again? Lottie something?
Lottie Lenya.
Lenya.
Are we...
As we talked about in the last podcast, gets
You
a shout
sang.
out in Mac the Knife because her husband was the composer of the song. And she was a famous
even
actress.
when I re-listened to that today, I still have no idea what you're talking about.
So you know the song Mac the Knife, right?
No.
You don't know that song?
Oh,
Mac the Knife?
shark
Yeah.
has pretty teeth.
From
babe,
what
and
year?
It's like a crooner song
Yeah,
from
it's
like,
like,
who sings it?
Bobby Darin sang
Bobby
a famous
Darin.
version. I mean, but it was famous before that because it's in the musical The Threepenny Opera. It's a very famous song.
It must be.
It was a McDonald's logo. Make it Mac tonight. It was like for a long time they would use the song for McDonald's commercials.
Really?
Yeah, in your lifetime. I'm pretty sure.
Was it sung by the Hamburglar?
No, it was sung by the guy with the big moon-shaped face.
Grimace?
Oh, the moon-shaped
Yeah,
face.
that was his song.
Okay.
He sang Mac Tonight, which was to the tune of Mac the Knife.
Oh.
I feel like you know the song. If
Yeah,
you heard it.
you
Maybe.
know it for
I'm not
sure.
going to sing the whole thing, but yeah, Lottie Lenya. And we might as well take this opportunity just to shout out Colin's cousin Scott Shaw.
Yeah.
who is of course he's not actually Colin's direct cousin.
He's
I
made
think
8 movies
several
since we
times
last mentioned
removed.
him.
Yes, he
He
is.
has?
He is Robert Shaw's nephew. Oh, he's still working hard. He's
Yeah.
made many movies in the last. Let me count him. No, way more than 8, Matt.
Oh my God.
He has produced since 2017. He's produced at least 30 movies, all of them terrible, most of them shorts. Anyways, just if you want to have some fun, go to Scott Shaw's IMDb page
He's out there doing
and
it.
just look at some of the pictures in the gallery. They are fantastic.
I'm so happy for him.
He's his what? His grandson?
He's his nephew, I think.
Yeah, he looks nothing like.
I would almost be ready to agree to
He's
appear.
Robert Shaw's nephew.
he looks more like Colin than he does like.
He is the famous. He does look a lot more like Colin than he does like Robert Shaw. He's famous from the Rollerblade 7, Guns of El Chupacabra, Samurai Ballet, Max Hell, Frog Warrior, classic.
Sounds-
if
Yo,
there
I'm
ever
not
was
gonna
one.
lie. Samurai Ballet sounds pretty rad.
Yeah, there's. I mean, a lot
Think
of these
about
things.
that.
Max Hell, Frog Warrior sounds like it has potential. I would watch that.
If
I'm
Scott
not
Shaw's
going to,
out
but-
there, I would say that I would agree to appear in a Scott Shaw film for
Nothing.
very little.
To
Yeah.
play his son. This is actually like I can kind of see this.
Yeah.
This could happen.
Scott, if you're listening,
Hit us up.
Hit us
We're
up.
ready. We're ready to be in the. We want to be in the Scott Shaw business.
Bondcast, jamesbondcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Yes.
What else can we say about this movie that we haven't said already?
Color's really good,
I know.
except it's too dark in some scenes.
The what?
The color's really good,
Oh.
except it's too dark.
Yeah,
in
it
some
is. It is not a good looking.
But the sets are pretty amazing, and the location shooting. Again, we talked about this a lot the last time.
Yeah,
but
we
the
did.
catacombs are amazing. All the temple that they go into, like all that shit is just looks phenomenal. They're just going to amazing looking places and shooting them, but it's still pretty cool.
There's a lot of one-liners in this movie.
That are
Some
all dumb.
They also
good,
yeah.
most terrible.
Are there any good ones?
I don't know.
I don't remember. I don't think there was any.
They're
good
all
ones.
pretty dumb. Sorry, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, speaking of some one-liners, we forgot to mention that Bond is his first appearance. He's caught rutting around in the old trench.
Oh yeah, he's stuck in the trench.
Sylvia
again.
Trench.
Sylvia Trench, Bond's on again, off again
Oh,
girlfriend.
they always come back to the trench.
I need my trench cleaned out, Governor.
God.
It's pretty.
What does he say about her? He's like, I'm seeing or I'm looking into an old case or something.
Yeah. And then later,
I'm an old case, am I?
And then later, what is the line where he's like saying, "Now about that lunch," because
Oh,
he was gonna
yeah,
have
yeah.
lunch,
Yeah.
and it's definitely an oral sex joke.
It sure is. And then later
'cause they're
on,
about to
there's
get it on.
Karen Bay says to him like, I hope you like eating with your fingers or something
Oh
like that.
yeah,
That's
very
definitely
gross stuff,
dirty,
guys.
yeah.
Very gross stuff.
Oh, I thought he was just referencing the cuisine.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, what does
Because
he
you wouldn't
say?
think they would get this dirty in this movie, and yet they somehow.
Yeah,
managed.
there was. I feel like there might have been even another one too.
Okay, I've got some random.
Now I'm
some
thinking about Stromboli again.
random thoughts. I wish there was a Stromboli place that was open now. That'd be great. I would go get Stromboli with you after this. So when Karen Bay takes them through the catacombs and the boat and everything, and they go to the Russian consulate and they use a periscope to spy on the Russians. Is there a little periscope that pops up?
what does that look like in
that
the room?
Is there like the Russians are having their meeting and they just ignore it? They're like, what the hell is that thing? Oh, that's the periscope. We don't really know why it pops up sometimes. Just ignore it. It's fine.
Don't look at it. The table faces this way.
Yeah. Are you ignoring me? No, I'm a little distracted by the periscope coming out of the floor.
That's just
That's
the central
really
air
unprofessional.
conditioning.
You're not supposed to look away from the table while we're having a meeting at the table.
Don't look directly in the periscope's eye. It gets really self-conscious and retracts.
Yeah.
And he's like, man, I wish this had sound too. It's like, why can't it?
Yeah,
Just put,
right.
like, a
If you-
little hole.
If you
or-
took the time to put a periscope,
Yeah, you put a periscope in their office and you can't bug them.
the whole hotel he's staying at is totally bugged. Has a
Yeah.
has a two-way mirror for videotaping people having sex,
Yep.
and they couldn't just put a microphone on the periscope. It's
Oh.
literally from a submarine.
I thought this was kind of an interesting piece of trivia that we didn't talk about last time because remember the scene where he snipes the guy? They're shooting the guy who's who's
Oh,
Karen
she
Bay's
should have kept her mouth shut.
Yeah, she should have kept her mouth shut when he comes out of the mouth of the poster. So there's a giant poster on the wall, and I don't know why I didn't think of looking it up last time, but it's Bob Hope and Anita Ekberg are in this movie called Call Me Bwana, which I was like, that seems so stupid it might be fake. So I looked it up, and there's a reason that movie is used. It's like kind of a comedy about a guy who's mistaken for like a big game hunter because it's largely set in Africa. Apparently it was a disaster because they were rewriting it as they were shooting it, and like characters were changing and getting recast.
The more you say, the worse it sounds.
It sounds terrible. It was shot mostly with the same crew as Dr. No because it is one of the only Eon productions that isn't a Bond film. The only other one between Dr. No and 2017 This is actually the only one between Dr. No and 2017. Film Stars Don't Die in Liverpool was one they made in 2017.
Oh, yeah.
And they made one more since then, I think.
The rhythm section.
Yeah, the rhythm section was coming out soon.
It came out. It bombed.
Oh, did it?
Mm-hmm.
That's too bad because it looked.
You could say
the
it
trailer
thumped.
was good.
Yeah,
Could
it looked
say-
all right. I like her.
It mustn't have been bad. It
could say
must have
it
been
thumped.
bad.
It thumped.
Yeah, the rhythm section.
Yeah.
Instead of bombed, it thumped.
It drummed. It crashed like a cymbal.
Crashed. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
I
good.
got you.
That's better.
Anyways, so
It's not better.
so Call Me Bwana.
Take it back.
Call Me Bwana was a little advertisement for their own movie that had come out the previous year.
Okay, that makes sense. So they didn't have to pay rights.
Yeah, they didn't have
probably.
to pay for the rights. It sounds really bad.
It's like their own product placement. I think it's funny that's the only movie they made, and it was so bad that they were like, yeah, because their original deal with Dr. No was they had a 3-picture deal, and then when they signed the extension with MGM,
47 more movies.
yeah. Well, when they signed the extension, they were like, okay, you're going to produce a Bond movie every other year, and in the off years you'll produce a non-Bond movie. But they in their mind they were like, you'll do something else with Sean Connery, and then Sean Connery was like, nah, I don't want to work with you guys in the off years, and just turned down everything. So they had to do some other movie. So this is the movie they did, and then they were like, you know what? Just do the Bond movies every other year. Don't worry about the other shit. We're gonna tear up that contract. Just forget about it. Take the pressure off yourselves.
Oh man.
Yeah. What was it called?
Looks like one of their aircraft.
Call Me
is missing.
Bwana.
Call Me Bwana.
Call Me Bwana.
I don't wanna see it.
Ew.
That's what they were saying back then.
That's what the people said.
Yeah.
So the people spoke and they listened.
He calls him old man after he kills him. I'm just trying to think of more lines.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're all shitty.
Big and black and all over my forearm.
Yeah. The helicopter pass still amazes me. If there's one benefit to the helicopter scene, it's that you get to see a helicopter go right by a stuntman. That looks like it's speed ramped
looks
a little
real.
bit, but it is. They definitely were flying it. I've frame by frame both those shots. They were flying a helicopter really low right near a dude.
I was thinking about because we did a
Yes.
whole Oscars episode. I was
Yep.
thinking about Brad Pitt's speech where he's like I have to because I've won this. Talk about the stunt performers. We don't see them. It's crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Some guy was like, "Yeah, fly the helicopter right at me. I'll just duck."
Yeah, yeah,
I
exactly.
felt like it was camera trickery. Like, he was like further away, and the
I'm
helicopter
sure it
was
wasn't
closer.
that close, but like when you frame by frame it, it looks very
Yeah.
it's closer than even probably at a distance and moving much slower. Like even if they speed ramp it and have like some
an angle where he's not directly under it. It's still
forced
super
perspective.
dangerous.
It is definitely too close for that to be really safe. You know. Anyways, good stunt and good, and then you have the classic terrible helicopter crash where the helicopter explodes in the air, and then nothing about it looks like a helicopter that was in motion crashing into the ground. It's like it's a model that explodes in the air, and then a explosion when the thing's already on the ground. It's just so bad. But
Yeah.
also, the boat chase. The conclusion of the boat chase where the barrels go in the water and just start this inferno that takes out 3 ships that are chasing them with machine guns.
And they die horribly screaming.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, why do we see all that? like once the flames go up, we know what happened.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But we see a lot of them
It is-
like,
and
we
then
gotta get out of here. I'm burning alive.
You literally see a guy on fire.
John, no, go on without you. I'm not leaving without you, brother. Oh, God, we're on fire. We're all going to die now. Oh,
Dump the ammo
this
before
can't
it
be it.
explodes
my
us.
arm. Leave the arm. They can't reattach it.
And then it gently fades to like Venice.
It's like a romantic scene again. It's like, and they lived happily ever after.
They're in some honeymoon suite in Venice.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember the smell of flesh on the boat? I still wake up hard every morning.
The
I'm getting
screams
burned
of my
alive.
enemies.
The screams of my enemies give me permanent priapism. You want to do it again? Yeah. Could you do the screaming sound in the background? Just let's burn some hair. It really turns me on.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
almost
taking a little match on the
all the stunt work and the explosions and the fire almost make up for the fact that the entire thing is so nonsensical and ridiculous. Like that those barrels lit those boats on fire.
Oh, did you notice that henchman who like led the boat chase at the end?
Yeah.
He is the same actor who plays like I forget his name. Gogol, some.
Oh, in the later movies, he
Yeah.
plays the Russian.
Oh,
yeah.
that guy does look.
Oh my
like,
God,
'cause
you're
he's
totally
He's
right.
the guy who runs Spectre Island in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Did
the
you
same
look that
guy.
up? Have you verified
No,
that?
I saw him. I was like,
Look-
I know this guy, and it just hit me.
I thought they just looked
I
really
th-
similar.
I thought they looked similar too. We
They
should
put like
look
a
this up.
scar on his face,
Yeah.
but he doesn't
We
have that.
do have,
but
the-
he's also like a lot younger in this.
we do have the internet, so we can actually look this up if you guys can stall for a second.
Well, Matt's on his
Yeah,
watch
Matt's
over there.
on his watch.
Guys, Colleen's messaging me. There's a giant spider on our ceiling, and she's freaking out.
Well,
Oh, tell her to take a big cup and put the cup and just
And
hold it.
just hold it until I get home. She's seriously asking, "What time will you be back?"
because she can't kill a spider.
I said, "Can you kill it?" She wrote, "No, I cannot kill it."
The spider will overpower her. The spider's too strong.
She couldn't just like hit it with a piece of paper to like sweep
What
it
do you
out?
think that character's name is?
Like a broom or something?
Morzini?
Uh,
No, that's definitely not him. I'm just clicking on people. All right, continue stalling.
Morzini?
Terrible idea.
I can
Colin.
help you look.
Swat the spider and then you don't know where it went.
Yeah, then it runs like under furniture or something.
What? No, you just keep after it with the broom until you've swept it
No, you
out
talk
of the
about
house
spiders.
all the way.
I have to alleviate this situation. What's going on here?
I definitely woke up my sister when we were living together at 4 a.m. because I thought that there was a spider on the ceiling. Turns out it wasn't.
What was it? A
It
shadow?
was just, like shadows.
Oh.
But in my, half awake state, I convinced myself that the spiders were going to attack me.
Did you ever see Arachnophobia?
I will not see anything with spiders. It freaks me out.
I like spiders. I think of the bugs that they are the pretty ones.
Oh, it is Morzini, and it is Walter Gotell. You nailed it. That's the actor
Fuck yeah.
from both this movie and later plays Gogol.
Are
Nice
you
job.
sure
So that's
it's
another-
Morzini and not Morzidi because you're trying to
Oh.
pitch your Stromboli
man.
restaurant?
Don't get me started. I'm going to look up Italian places that are open after we
Oh my
finish this
God.
podcast. I'm starving, and that will be nice.
Remember in Parks and Rec when Ben tries to start the local calzone zone?
Yeah.
I was way more into it than I think
Yeah.
general audiences were.
Well, I mean, as long as it tastes good, because what's the point of a calzone if it's not going to be like it's? I don't think you can make a low calzone. I think
No, that's
the
impossible.
truth is,
Yeah.
it's too good.
Well.
What would you make it with, like cottage cheese and?
Ew.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Or that like low fat.
just an atrocity that's going to ruin the
mozzarella
calzone.
cheese at the
Oh,
end.
Cottage
yeah, no,
cheese
no, thank you.
is my least favorite dairy thing, I think, that there is.
With pineapple though. I just did a
No.
chef's kiss. Audience.
If you do, if you do like enough, like a sweet enough fruit to offset the nastiness of cottage, like the texture too, because you could almost imagine you can pretend like it's yogurt, kind of, but not
No.
really.
You can't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, Colin. I'm just saying, if you really had to be concerned about that kind of thing, which I will
Yeah.
just eat the yogurt, or I'd
Like-
probably just eat ice cream, honestly.
Like cottage cheese on your ceiling would be way worse than a spider on your ceiling.
Because it'll like drip down on your face while you're sleeping.
That's a weird comparison to make, but I agree. I agree 100%. I don't like in an objective sense where you don't have to worry about reality. Or a ceiling covered in cottage cheese is a nightmare.
You know,
on par with a bunch of spiders.
In the Bond movie, the You Only Live Twice, when the assassin tries to kill him by dripping the liquid down
Yes.
the wire, but it's cottage cheese.
It like falls in his mouth and he's
So
just mildly perturbed.
Colin wakes up and he's like, "Oh, is this cottage cheese? Oh God! Oh no!
Boys, our job here is done. And they just sneak off the roof.
It actually kills me.
Yeah.
The shock of it.
They're not trying to kill you; they're just trying to upset
Or
you.
like it's like
greatly.
the Q branch scene, and he's like, "We have the poison that drips down the wire. Unfortunately, it has to be the texture of cottage cheese."
No, that's too horrible. We just want to kill these people. We don't want to make them eat cottage cheese. Yeah.
I won't
terrible.
do it.
Yeah, I refuse. I take a stand here. I know I have a license to kill, but damn it, I don't have a license to torture.
Yeah, I'm an assassin, not a butcher.
Very good. Very good.
I like how in this movie they talk about Grant like he's they say many times that he's a psychopath, right?
Yeah.
And like he's
Yeah.
He's very
He's
jolly
like
when
some
he's
crazy
pretending to be
psycho
somebody
killer
else.
that they just recruited for this.
And then at the end when he explains what he's gonna do, like he's essentially gonna like leave the microfilm and like, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like plant
Stage a
stage
murder,
whatever.
suicide,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he's like, what asylum did they get you from? You know, like it's not that crazy. It's like it's a pretty good plan.
Two thoughts on that. Nobody would ever believe that if they knew Bond, because what a dirty movie of him banging some chick. I'm sure those things are floating around everywhere. Like this can't be the first time he got filmed having sex with a girl and it got out.
It's
somewhere.
like the '60s version of the internet.
But also, I also thought the first time I saw this movie, I thought the line about him being a psychopath that they recruited because he was like a murderer or whatever, and he's totally insane and
unhinged.
And I was like, is that really the best guy to recruit? But then I was thinking about his mission here is literally just go around and kill people. Like that's his only job is to kill these random people in horrible ways and not really think too hard about it. And I'm like, I guess if you're a psychopath who enjoys killing people, this is kind of a dream job. He lucked into it.
Yeah.
And they found a perfect combo here. I was
You know
like,
what they
this
say?
Kill indiscriminately. Yes,
do what you love and
do
you
what
won't
you
work
love.
a day in your life. Yeah.
Yeah, do what you love. You'll never work a day in your life.
Should we rate this thing?
Yeah, let's rate that thing.
I know you.
Harris,
You two were
stop
talking over
copying
each
me.
other, and there was an opportunity to restate it.
I guess.
Harris, I think you should go first because you had the highest score last time.
I will. And I definitely had a sort of a protest high score because I felt like you guys were a little unfair to this one. I actually, in a lot of ways, I feel like I liked this watch through better than the last one. In that it felt shorter to me. And the conclusion wasn't as disappointing because I knew it was coming. I knew after that great climax we were going to have a bunch of other scenes, and also my big thing was I was blown away by that fight scene, and I just kept on thinking they never did anything this good in the Connery movie. Like they never did a fight scene that good in the Connery movies. They did a lot of other clever stuff, a lot of really great scenes, but in the Connery movies and honestly most of the Roger Moore ones and in the one Lazenby one. They never pulled off a fight scene as well, I don't think. And I really like the villain, and I like the plot, and I love Connery. He's great. And I thought the girl was great for an actress who didn't do a lot of other stuff. So I'm going to lower it because I was way too high last time, but I'm only lowering it to a 007. I really like this movie.
Okay. I did. Wait, Matt, do you want to go next?
You can go. You already started talking.
I did. That I did. What if I just say everything Harris said? No, I did think the girl. I did notice. Is my chair making a lot of noise? It feels loud.
I'm not noticing a lot of noise,
Okay.
but it's making more noise in my chair.
Okay, I did notice the actress, the lead actress. I felt like she did a lot better on the rewatch. Just because I guess I was watching her a little more, and I got what she was doing. Even though her character is really, really shallow, like
Yeah, but you were picking up what she was putting down.
yeah, I was picking it up, and I mean, it's just so slow and dated, and I wouldn't mind how slow it was if it wasn't that like it just there's so much stuff in it that screams that it's from a different time to me, like it just. Watching it is just like this is like I can't watch it and see a movie that was made anywhere close to the way they make movies today, because we're more conscious, we're more socially conscious, because it's just different. Like I don't know, but yeah, it's not that bad though. Like without this movie, Bond wouldn't be Bond. This movie makes me like Spectre more, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get that. Because it's setting the mythology in motion for that kind of...
And Spectre is supposed to be fan service to like the parts of the mythology that are very much inclusive of this movie.
Right.
I just like when Connery says "smirsh."
Oh, yeah.
Schmersh.
Smirsh.
Yeah. Smash. Oh, you're not with Smash? Oh, I should have known it the whole time.
His facial expression when he puts it together, he's like, Spectre.
Yeah. And he gets to say Smirsh and Spectre within
Schmersh and
seconds.
Spectre.
Yeah. There was this, when I was young, my friend, he recorded off the radio. There was this old thing, and it was like a fake commercial for Sean Connery singing the hits. And it was all just words that started with like
S.
S so that it would sound like he was saying shit or something like shitting on the dock of the bay, watching the time. Oh yeah, silver bells, silver bells. It's Christmas time in the city. Those are the ones I remember. There's one more. Oh man, sitting on the dock of the bay, and then they go like, "Oh, we also have the Christmas album," and then he goes to Silver Bells, and he says "shitty" instead of "city."
This is something your friend made, or this is something you
He
saw?
recorded it off the radio. It was like a radio show,
Oh, that's so
you know,
funny.
like on an FM radio. So it's like there may not be, you know, another recording of it, or it's in some radio station somewhere. But this is, you know, way back. Like
Back
this
when
is
radio did bits.
This is like in the 90s, or at least the early 2000s. And, you know, it was one of those things where it's like he took the cassette tape and recorded it off the boombox. And then, you know, we used to listen to it. And then I remember recording that off of his cassette tape onto a cassette tape that I had, you know. Like,
Back in the primitive days before podcasts where you had to
like
bootleg
that's,
everything.
That's how that
in
was
the-
the height of the technology that time of like, but we were sharing music.
Back in the Mad Max days.
Yeah, basically. And
So
that's
in
why
conclusion,
that's why I give this movie a 005 because it's one more point than last time.
Wow.
that's very generous, Colin. I was thinking it was going to be a similar same score, but
I really kind of wanted to give it the same score, but
I mean, I don't want to pressure you into
Yeah, you
doing
don't
something
have
you don't
to
want to do.
change.
Follow
I'm
your
really-
heart, man. Follow your heart.
I have a reputation for being nice.
You
Too
do have
nice.
a reputation for being nice. That's why this is a weird one to be mean to. But
I guess yeah.
I mentioned earlier that I vibed with this screening a little better than last time. I felt that the plot was working on a lot of levels, and like for a spy thriller kind of movie, I followed it really well, and I thought, oh, this is good. I mean, you know, there's a lot of tangents, like the gypsy scene I feel like is a huge tangent that doesn't need to be there, and like scenes are just a little too long sometimes.
can I pause you for just 1 second and tell you how much more seriously I'm taking you with the new haircut?
Wow.
Like everything you're saying sounds so much smarter. I'm just like, he looks like such a professional.
It's not like
Honestly,
my
I
last
cannot-
haircut was a stupid one.
Honestly, I cannot get over the Harry Osborn thing. Like I continually keep thinking
You
about
think that
like
he looks like a cartoon of Harry Osborn, yeah.
yeah.
I
I continually think he's gonna use some kind of goblin wing.
That I am not with you, Colin, on that one. But
That's a real Peter Parker thing for you to say.
You look super respectable. You look like somebody's dad now.
No,
honestly.
it looks good.
You
It's
look like
just
James
like,
Bond's father's boss. Just totally.
it looks good. It's
impressive.
just like when I saw you, I was like, that looks like something, and then I realized that it was the Osborn haircut from the cartoon, and I couldn't.
I went
unsee
in
it.
and I said, "Give me the Osborne."
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I shouldn't have gotten you off track.
He brought in a.
They knew exactly what I
He
meant.
brought in a screenshot from a 90s Fox Kids cartoon.
Continue your sophisticated and thoughtful analysis of this, Professor.
Okay, let me break out my glasses. That'll be the real
Oh my
piece
God.
de resistance.
I don't want you to look like the smartest one on the podcast.
I am the smartest one. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, this movie sucks. No, I'm just kidding.
Got it.
Yeah, I liked it better. The ending didn't feel so long for me. I did nod off a little bit, and that might have helped. But yeah, I don't know. I felt like I was a little too cruel to it last time. I do feel that it is a classic Bond movie, and it looks good. I also watched this show called The Movies. It's like a CNN show.
About movies?
Yes, oddly enough, where they go
is it,
through
like,
by
similar to the
decade.
Decades ones?
Yeah, it's exactly
But it's
like that,
just
but
movies?
it's just movies. Yeah,
Where do you get this?
it was on TV, and I just saw it, and I taped
What
it.
TV?
CNN has a streaming app, but you have to buy. You have to like.
Yeah, I know.
Have cable.
Well, no, you know what it is? It's one of those things where they say enter your cable provider,
Right.
and you have to have cable exactly. So I have AT&T now, I think it's called.
Right. I know what this is.
And that one isn't accepted for some reason. Like they show you the list of cable
Oh, yeah.
providers you could choose, and there's literally thousands, and that one is not one of them for whatever, probably some legal issue or whatever.
That is weird.
Yeah, but anyway, it pisses me off because I really want to watch the rest of these. But anyway, they talked about James Bond a little bit, and they showed scenes from Russia with Love, and like just seeing scenes out of context made me think like, oh yeah, this movie is classic. It's good, you know. So I actually jumped up. I had a 4 previously, a 004. I'm bumping it up to a 006, playa.
Woo.
Yeah,
This is going to be a real boost for Russia with Love's
Yeah.
rating. It's going to be middle of the road,
yeah.
which is appropriate, I think. So basically, 006 is where we're going to end up on this one. for
Yeah.
the average. So that's
Yeah.
that's good. I think that's
That
a
math checks out.
that feels like an appropriate. That feels. That feels like an appropriate.
Just
a
for the
palindrome.
listeners out there,
There's no way to describe this.
they
actually.
wrote boob. They wrote boob on the whiteboard.
But it happened
It's very funny.
organically.
It happened organically.
It was not a plan. Oh, anyways, well, that was the fun recap. What's our next? Oh, we surprise people with.
Yeah,
the
we
recaps.
surprise
All
people.
right.
So we've got
the
one
next
more
one is a
recap.
surprise.
Yeah.
I thought we revealed it.
Did we?
No,
we
I don't
revealed
think
the
so.
3 that we're gonna do.
I don't think so.
I don't think we
we've been
did.
keeping that a secret. Have you been revealing it to people, Colin?
No, I thought
don't
we did it
know.
in a Patreon episode or like one of the.
If we did it
Oh,
on a
maybe we did
Patreon
it.
episode, then these fools
Yeah,
can't hear
Maybe
it.
we
Yeah,
did it
that's
in a
true.
Patreon episode. Maybe it's something you can get a little hold of if you want to pay a whole $1 a month.
There we go.
Only
This is where I
$12 a
wanted to
year.
go with the
Only
combo.
$12 a year or $1 a month. You can get bonus content. You can get extra episodes. You can get to hear about what we're doing next. It's
if-
very exciting stuff.
If you and your friend use the same phone, you can each pay 50 cents.
Wow.
It's true. You can break it up. Hey, if you and 4 friends all share a phone, you could pay $0.25 a piece a month.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible. I am actually much funnier on the pay episodes. Matt is sexier. Colin kind of just does the same thing, but
Yeah, he's exactly the same.
excuse
yeah,
me?
Yeah. It's,
Why would you make bold claims about yourself?
Well, because I think you're at your best self all the time. You never phone it in. Me and Matt are saving the good
God.
stuff for the paying customers. That's all.
My heart.
You just don't know how to go halfway. Like
I
we
just
do.
don't. I don't know how to half-ass.
Yep. Anyways, is that all? Is that it for us?
That's it. Yeah.
Let's go get some Strombolis.
Woohoo!
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
some ZD. Right?
Yeah.
Calzones.
Some more ZD.
And then we'll watch Pinocchio.
Bond.